you know. And they use stories just like when you went to elementary school. You had to read about Aesop stories. Did you really believe that it was a dog with a bone, and then the dog seen another dog with the bone in the water reflection, and then jumped in the water, and he ends up drowning? That was a story talking about greed. That wasn't about the dog. That wasn't about the bone. That was about looking in the mirror, hence the reflection of water. Looking at yourself and realizing that you don't need to be greedy, because what is meant to be for you will be. So the little dog had a bone, and he was just happy. He was coming across the bridge, and he looks over and he see another dog with what he thought was another dog with a bone in his mouth, not realizing it was him. And he jumps off in order to go get the bone and drown. We have to stop this Aesop fable story in our minds about this greed. That was a story about greed. The Bible gives us illustrations of that throughout the whole book, giving us instances. For example, like, God, you gave her to me. This is Adam talking about Eve. Eve throws it on the snake. Well, he made me do it. That whole storyline was talking about how we place blame on one another. If you didn't catch it, that's the morals behind the story. We have a tendency as so-called human beings not to be responsible and not to be accountable for our ways, deeds, and actions. And therefore, we suffer. So the first story is about blame. That's one of the so-called sins. The word sin just means ignorance. That was one of the ignorance in which that is first told to us in the book of Genesis. Besides for murder, which we know, Cain and Abel's story. But even before we get to the murder, the first ignorance was misplacement of blame. Was blame. Misplaced blame. God, you gave it to me. Well, he made me do it. Shows you right there that humans have a very peculiar way of not being accountable and being responsible for their own deeds, their own actions. And this becomes a downfall for our character, in which that we begin to start developing. And what's the point of think about blame? Everything in that we can think about: blame, murder, lying. All of these things are an outgrowth of fear. There's actually only one flawed emotion within human beings, and that's fear. That's the flaw. Right? Fear. And what they say fear is? False evidence appearing real. Yabu already told you that this is an illusion. An illusion. So false evidence appearing real. It appears to be real, but it isn't. That's fear. You think this is real, that this, that you really have, this is real. This is your thought process. All right?